Hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, the road to human kindness. And I'm here with my co-host Wanda, and we don't have a field anymore. We have grown past that now.
We're past that.
That's kind of we're past the COVID thing.
I've got the shot. You've got the shot.
Yeah, right. We're clear.
Everybody's getting the shot. Do you get a shot?
Yeah.
No pressure.
So this is a program about pursuing happiness and pursuing kindness, exactly, and life, liberty, everything that goes along with that. It's pretty patriotic what we're talking about.
Can we throw some love in there?
Yeah, love too.
A little love of.
Yeah, peace and love. The Route 664 and 664 is the missing piece.
It is.
And the missing piece is PEACE. And what we're trying to do is build enough charitable wealth in the country so that we can remove some of the burden from government and also remove the burden from charities so that they don't have to continuously raise money, especially if they're providing the services to the community that the community needs. It's a much better way to do things, and what helps to solve our national debt in the big term. This is not a small project that we're involved in, and something that we're trying to brand. People need to know about Route 664 or 664, the Section 664 of the Internal Revenue Code. That section is what allows you to create social secharity devices. And social secharity devices are generally charitable remainder trusts, pooled income funds, charitable gift annuities. Those three types of charitable tools allow you to create income for yourself for the future while you're also doing something really good for the community.
Say those tools again, because we need to learn those
Absolutely.
phrases.
Those tools are the charitable remainder trust, pooled income fund, and the charitable gift annuity.
Okay.
But there are other devices which are similar to in the regard that we can build endowment or we can provide income to nonprofit organizations. And our guest this morning is Brad Gornto. Brad is an expert in this area of planning, which is dealing with charitable lead trusts. So Brad, good morning.
Good morning, Les. It's great to see you and great to be with you and Wanda.
Thanks.
And we don't generally get into a lot of technical issues, and I don't really think it has to get technical. No. But the charitable, you use charitable lead trusts as one of your main ingredients in your financial planning process that you either provide to other advisors or that you do yourself. Let me just tell the audience, you are a member of the Professional Association of Philanthropic Advisors, the Council of Professional Philanthropic Advisors, as well as a lot of other things. I see you're very active in the community, in the financial planning community, and that's a very good thing. We're always happy to see servants and stewards who take it seriously. But in explaining what a charitable lead trust, we've talked about charitable remainder trusts. A charitable lead trust is a little different. Why don't you just give us a thumbnail sketch of what a charitable lead trust is?
Well, I'd be happy to. At the 30,000 foot level, it really is a structure that the IRS allows people to utilize.
Is there a section of the tax code that refers to?
Yeah, I guess this is a sub-route to Route 664. This is all in 170F, A, B. I mean, it's not quite as smooth as just, Route 664, but
it's a bumpier road.
This is a bumpier road, but basically the IRS doesn't allow you to have charitable deductions with trusts unless you meet one of these exceptions. And so charitable lead trusts are an exception. But I tell people, let's forget all the technical terms. This is basically a glorified or an enhanced pledge arrangement. A lot of folks give on a regular basis. It's part of who they are. It's part of the joy and the kindness, and it's part of who they are. They give annually, and they may want to give at death. A lead trust is really a trust that makes annual payments to charities that people care for and love now, in recurring annual gifts. And then at the end of the term, one of two things happens. The assets in that trust return back to the client, or they go to family. But so for the charitable component and building an endowment for charity and endowing our country, this is a front-loading way to do it. instead of happening
You're providing, in dealing with the lead trust concept, you're having donors make a pledge of multiple gifts, and they do that using a trust device.
Yeah, and there's benefits to doing so. And a lot of times I'll just call this an enhanced pledge arrangement. Some people like to give, as you well know, with after-tax dollars, and that's not the most efficient way to give. This is a tool that just is incredibly powerful right now because we're in low interest rates. But it's kind of the flip. It's kind of the opposite. A lot of people say this is the opposite of a charitable remainder trust because the charity gets the lead interest or the front, annual interest, and then the remainder stays in the family bloodline. So
right. So we're using 664 to define the charitable remainder trust. And the charitable remainder trust is a social charity device because that device is similar to Social Security in the sense that it provides you with an income.
Yep.
And a charitable lead trust is another device. But one of the primary benefits, talk about why do people do this if they have tax issues?
Well, they have tax issues. They want to. Well, the short answer is it's harder to get tax savings from annual gifts right now, and you know this, and a lot of the audience knows it. So someone has a tax.
Why is that, Brad?
Well, that's a large part because the standard deduction is so high, and so if you're married, you get a standard deduction of $24,000 and change right now. So unless you're using retirement assets to give, which we don't have time to get into, it's really hard to get tax savings if you give $10,000 to $20,000 a year.
So the standard deduction kind of wipes out the need to itemize.
Exactly. And so this charitable lead trust structure is a way to people to front load, 5, 10, 15, 20 years of giving in the current year when a family member, a client sells a business or has a big, banner year for their, their K-1 income, or they, converting an IRA to a Roth. The IRS has all of these ordinary income events that aren't really, they come out of left field sometimes. And this is a wonderful way to mitigate or kind of couple is a word I use a lot, couple a deduction when someone needs it. And it allows you to steer more taxes to things that you love better than, the IRS. And
the tax savings, disinheriting the IRS or disengaging the IRS is a benefit that people see is worthwhile.
Absolutely.
And so the idea here is that income has a value, future income has a value that you can measure. And because you're pledging to give that future income to charity, they give you a tax deduction based on the amount that you pledge in the year that you do it. Is that how that works?
Yeah, in a simple term, if you're going to give $10,000 for 10 years, which a lot of folks do to their place of worship or their community foundation or whatever, that's $100,000 over 10 years. Well, this tool allows you to get a deduction in year one because interest rates are so low, as you know. It's basically like 95% of the sum of those payments. You can capture them in year one, but you're not. So it'd be like a $95,000 deduction, but you're not writing a check for $95,000. The IRS is giving you the deduction now for your commitment to give. So this is just a wonderful way to further endow, your communities, almost on a cash flow now type of thing. I mean, and a lot of my clients. If you gave a $10,000 gift now, it wouldn't even go your standard deduction. Your 20, you wouldn't be able to take it as a tax deduction. Correct.
So basically, what you're doing is you're prepaying and getting a tax deduction for the value of that prepayment. But then, how do you pay the $10,000? How does the $10,000 get paid?
It's paid out of, you set up a new bank account or a new financial advisor account in the name of your charitable trust. You do have to fund it with some money. So that little example I gave you of $100,000, move $100,000 into that account. It can be, that's a relatively small one, but that money is paid out of that account to the charities or to the community foundation or donor advisor.
It's important that the folks listening know that $100,000 has to be put into the charitable trust.
Yes,
the idea is that so it's you're actually giving the money to charity. So, but the benefit of the charitable lead trust is at the end, because in that situation, what happens to the money that's left in the trust? So if I put let's just say, for argument's sake, we live in a dream world, and I put in $100,000 a year, and I make 12% on my money every year, and now I'm taking out the 10%. I mean, the $10,000 a year, but I'm not taking out more than I'm earning, so I'm going to grow that.
Yeah.
And so that at the end of 10 years, maybe I would have $120,000 in there. What happens to that $120,000 at the end of the 10 years?
For the simple type of charitable lead trust, the kind that we're talking about and is most the easiest to set up, it'll come back to you less in this hypothetical world, and it'll come back to you in a non-taxable transaction. So what you just described better, perfectly well, is the growth, the principal. I mean, obviously, if it doesn't earn 12%, it might dip into principal, but what you're really doing, and the IRS is allowing you to do, is you're positioning a certain amount of your assets. It doesn't have to be cash; it could be real estate or LLC interest. You're positioning a certain amount of your assets to be your charitable source.
Now, can you put in assets? For example, if I had appreciated stock, can I use appreciated stock and put that into the trust?
You could, and without getting too technical, absolutely you can, but it doesn't provide. That's why the show's called Route 664 and not Routes 170F, whatever. If you put that in there, it doesn't quite have all the benefits, but yeah, you can fund it with appreciated stock. But when you sell that stock, it's not tax deferred. But anyway,
in that case, it wouldn't be tax deferred.
Correct. But
okay, so ideally, let's say I have a small business and the corporation, and I own all the stock in the corporation, and I can value the corporation. I know how much income the corporation. Can I put that corporate stock into a charitable lead trust to fund that $10,000 a year?
You can. It's better if it's a passive business, such as a rental portfolio, or it's not like a doctor practice or a retail or manufacturing. But even that, you can do it. You could put S corp stock in it, which you cannot do with a CRT, as you know. But
yeah,
but you can fund it. What really works good is cash or securities or rental property that doesn't have debt on it.
So this bumpy road, I guess this bumpy road needs a good driver, and so I want
a really good vehicle.
Well, you have to have a good vehicle, but you need the good vehicle, and you need a good driver, and you need somebody to be able to take you down this road so that you can do what you want to do for human kindness. And so, Brad, do you work with the public directly? Do you work with other advisors? How do you operate?
I do it several different ways. I'm a licensed attorney in the state of Florida, so I have law clients and individuals and charities that I work with and help navigate this space. I work with advisors. I'm a consultant, and then I'm also a lawyer, so it depends on the engagement. But just like a normal estate planning attorney would help someone get their estate plan in order, I work with them, and we help build the right structure. And to get them to this road, the key and the focus is to get the right tool that matches the way the client wants to borrow your words, reach the road to kindness. Some people love to give annually, and if I hear that, then I immediately think, okay, this is a great tool, a great structure that's going to overlap them greatly. If I hear they want to give, they need income and diversify, and want to leave a lot when they're gone, then as you well know, they're already on Route 664. So yes. It's a matter of, but I work with individuals, I work with advisors.
We have your email address, I think, up. Actually, I don't think we have your up on the screen. But if you go to socialsecharity.org, if the listener would go to socialsecharity.org, socialsecharity.org, and find an advisor. Brad is listed amongst the council members with the Endow America Network Foundation, and we appreciate that we're renting your brain this morning a little bit. It's hard to find the people that specialize in these things. Why do you think that is?
Great question. I can tell you this from the legal profession: they don't teach this in law school. Even if you're pursuing an estates and trust type, it's just not focused on. I think I can speak that, the fact that law schools don't teach it. A lot of people only stumble into this, because they're on a board of a charity. It like kind of the theme of your show. It's not mainstream yet. People just think, well, are you philanthropically inclined is just a questionnaire that you check yes or no. And no one's going to say there's a lot of things organically in the process that deter people from exploring this.
It's the nuances.
It's the nuances. And people automatically think that if you mark that box, are you philanthropically inclined, you're going to get hit up for every fundraising event and all that. But really, it's what you and Wanda say. I mean, is there anything you really enjoy in life? I mean, is there anything that's really important to you?
And is there something that you want to help with human kindness?
Yeah.
And Plato said that when you're kind to others, you're most kind to yourself.
Isn't it funny how that works out? It's true.
Yeah.
You're too busy being kind. It's going to overlap into you and your family and your business and all that. So I love what you are doing, and I applaud you for it. And because there is not much public awareness in the financial services realm as well. And the CAP program, which I know you talk about, Chartered Advisors in Philanthropy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's I think there's so much upside. I think there's so much upside and growth potential. But like you said,
well, we need to build the profession. The profession is not open only to lawyers or financial planners. It's open to other people who do some transactional things. And we're trying to build a number of professional philanthropic advisors in the country, and we're going to be broadcasting. Hopefully, we're going to be broadcasting nationwide. And the idea is to spread this concept and to let people know. If people don't know about it, they can't use it. And so we're giving them an opportunity to find out how this part of what government did for you is something that you can use, which basically reduces the size of government's influence, but also helps you be very kind to your community. So if you do it by giving in upfront, as you do with a charitable lead trust, or you end up giving it at the end of your life, either way, it's giving, and those things that you're giving are helping to support nonprofit organizations in your community or wherever. So great work, Brad. We know each other a long time.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, we had dinner one night where we were talking about the germination of this whole thing. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that dinner well, and it takes a little while, but yeah, I mean, if people had this in their narrative, I mean, the retirement community's done a tremendous job of marketing and telling people why it makes sense to have a 401k and IRA. A 401k, you know what that is.
A 401k, where did that come
That's
from?
for
My God.
babies.
That's the Internal Revenue Code. But again, I mean, and I think the charitable sector is partially to blame too, because they immediately knee jerk and think, well, we start talking about this stuff, it's going to make their life a little more difficult. It's a longer haul. It's a more relationship type of structure, as opposed to they just want the dollars now. So there's a lot of nuances that direct this truly philanthropic capital from reaching where it really can easily go.
It's hard for the nonprofits the nonprofits can tell you, and the nonprofits should be telling you what you can do with these devices. The problem that I think they have is implementing them is not what they can do. No. They can only tell you that this is something you can use, and like you say, they don't generally want to do that because it means it brings in an outside advisor, it brings in other people sometimes. And I understand nonprofit organizations are very protective of the people that they work with and so on. So it's a little difficult. So we're trying to really build the professional aspect of this for public use. Public, just like you have CPAs, you should have professional philanthropic advisors. CPAs help you pay the government, and professional philanthropic advisors help you disinherit the government or help you avoid paying so much to the government. And you get you get to use the money for good things. If you get a tax deduction in the year that you're giving this gift to the charitable lead trust, you get more money to spend.
Yeah, you do, and you can give it more away. It's for the right. It's just picking the right tool that makes the most sense for a certain family. So, yeah, I mean, it's a table discussion. It needs people, the nuances and the defense mechanisms that people have and the protectionism they have. It just all needs to come down. And you're doing a great job. And I think the momentum is there. And I think COVID and people are more interacting, Zoom, all this. I'm seeing progress, actually. I'm seeing that. I think we're turning the corner here, and some charities are getting it more and more. So it's very, very encouraging.
Yes, so. I agree. And thank you, Brad, for being with us this morning. Yes. Brad Gornto. And Brad is located in Norman Beach. Is that right?
Yep. I'm just up 95 from you.
But actually, he's located right there on the screen. And he can be on your screen as well. So,
and online.
Yeah. So if you want to reach out to Brad, go to socialsecharity.org. Find him as an advisor there. Or Brad, why don't you give us your, if you want to give out your phone number. I don't know if you want to do that yet.
Do the website. It's easier.
The best way to learn about, well, not only me, but the tool is to go to the, you can go to one or two websites, but the website iclat.net, www.iclat.net. There's all types of free information about that tool that we just talked about.
That's www.iclat.net. iClat. That's another one of those. That's another one of those CRTs and CRUTs and CRATs and GRATs and BLUTs and FRATs and brings and everything. So again, thank you, Brad. Thanks for being with us. And
I appreciate the opportunity, Les. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it is a pleasure. Great talking with you.
Right,
See you on the bumpy road.
See you on the road.
Okay, good. Yeah, that was Brad Gornto, a member of the Council of Professional Philanthropic Advisors.
Yeah.
And somebody I've had many conversations with in the past over dinner at some of the conferences that we attended together. And he was one of the first people where I gave him the germination of this thing, which was pretty interesting. It's so great to see you without a barrier. Germination, yes, germination. What? For Trisha's sake, my wife, she says, stop using those big terms.
I know. I've had the conversation as well. He's a smart guy. What are you gonna do?
I don't mean to do that. That's not nice.
You got to bring him down a little bit.
I'm sorry. I really apologize. It's okay. For the birth.
It's all right. It makes us reach for higher words.
I'm trying to educate the public, I guess. I don't know. Too much of a teacher.
Right.
So what's next?
Our next guest.
Yes.
Since we're in the era of human kindness,
Good.
I just wanted to go out and find ambassadors of kindness. And
Good.
I think our next guest totally fits the mold. He's a chef.
Great.
We'll start there. Chef Roberto Mendoza. I believe you're with us. I see a picture.
Is that a pot and pan or?
He might be cooking. He might be in the kitchen.
Okay.
Chef, are you there?
All right. Well, we can chat a little bit until he comes back on the scene.
It's an interesting photo, though. I don't know where his camera is aiming, but hopefully we don't see anything we don't need to see.
Right.
So,
all right. So one of the things that I want to discuss is three questions that are really at the heart of what we kind of call social security planning, or how do you get into whether I'm a candidate to do this kind of social security device? What makes me a candidate?
Yeah.
So the first question is whether or not you feel, or it can be shown, that you're financially secure. You need to be financially secure to be able to give away something. And that financial security is based on several things. It's a measure of budget needs versus assets and income and the expenses of the budget. Are you earning enough to pay your annual budget? And is there money left over? And are you accumulating assets? And if you're accumulating assets, when you leave those assets behind, how much is enough to leave to your children? How much is the amount that you want to leave to your children? And then what do you do with the other part? And so those are the three questions. Are you financially secure? What is it that you want to leave to your children? What do you think is enough to leave to your children? And that's a very interesting. That question generates a lot of conversation, because some parents want to leave everything to their children. Sometimes you can't because there are taxes involved. but they believe that their children should get everything that they have. And the question then becomes, how do they get it in a lump sum? Are they going to get it in income over years? What is the way that you want to provide for your children from your assets when you're gone? So that question also brings up the other part of that, which is how much of your assets do you need to leave to them that you think would be enough, or is there some sort of control that you want to put on it? Is there a limitation? Is there a way you want to share those assets with the community as well? Once you've answered those questions, then we have a better idea of what it is that can be done in your situation to help you do human kindness. How do you branch that? How do you bring that into the community? How do you become a philanthropist? Actually, a voluntary philanthropist. If you're a taxpayer, we know you're an involuntary philanthropist. Even if you think you're not a philanthropist, if you're paying taxes, trust me, you're a philanthropist. You just don't have any control over the gifts. Those go to the government, and the government takes care of how they want to spend it, and you don't have any say in the matter. So you need to understand from a planning perspective, from a planning view, it's very important that the information that is being provided is, of course, shared and shared adequately, so that the professional philanthropic advisor can help you make decisions that you may not be clear on, and help you focus on what it is that you want to do. There's a very good book which is written by Mark Weber called Legacy Spectrum. It's one of the tools we're using in a master's course, and this book is about passing your wealth with thought and meaning, and it is a very well-written guide that you can use fairly easily. It's written very in very simple language. It's not highly technical, and it's a very, very good instrument for you to use if you're interested in finding out whether you're a legacy candidate. I think that everybody should be a legacy candidate, and I don't think there's anybody that can't be, even if the legacy is in volunteer work that you've done, that you've left something behind by virtue of your stewardship or your leadership. Those are all things that are very valuable. And so I recommend the book, The Legacy Spectrum. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon. It's written by Mark Weber, and it is about passing your wealth with thought and meaning. This will be a great tool for you to check out to see whether or not you're a candidate for this kind of social security planning, put you on the road to human kindness using Route 664 and other devices.
Yep.
How about our chef?
We can check in on the chef. We have a sort of a visual here. Chef, can you at least hear us?
I am here.
Oh, there you are. Why can't we see you? What is your camera looking at? I think we might have the other side of your camera, sir. Or we could just lose and just talk to you. We don't need to.
Yeah, we don't need. I mean, I'd like to see what you look like.
I don't know what happened with my camera.
Okay.
Well, welcome to the show anyway. Your voice is just as divine.
Thank you so much.
Maybe that's inside of an oven or a frying pan or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Are you looking at your camera? What do you see? Never mind.
Okay.
We can go on.
I look at my camera.
All right.
All right.
So Wanda was going to ask you a couple of questions to draw you out into the human kindness area. So.
Well, he's just one of the most fabulous. What brought him to my attention, not only is he a chef and has been a chef to so many celebrities, needless to say, presidents in the past, but he won the lottery, and which is kind of what we all talk about, is having the money, and then gave it all to charity to feed the homeless. So I wanted to bring him on as one of our first ambassadors, for sure, of kindness, and just talk about his extraordinary life. And unless, since you're full of questions, I'll let you start.
Okay. So you won the lottery. What year was that?
That was January. Yes, I am here. You hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Hello? Okay.
That
was January 2019. 2019.
Yeah.
And you decided that you would give the entire amount to charity, or part of it, or what?
The entire. Actually, well, I stopped in the gas station, and the machine didn't give me. So I went inside and I asked the cashier, you can get my gas ticket, and he said, sure, here it is. And I said, by the way, I got $5 in my pocket. Can I have a scratch ticket? So I got home
Right.
like 6 p.m. got like dinner, a scratch ticket, and there it was, $250,000. So
Fantastic.
I said to my daughter, look, I won $250,000. So it was, oh my God, Daddy. And in December, I went to feed 350 little ones in the Dominican Republic. So I got children's up there we feed them every single day. So every year I go and say, guys, next year we're gonna do this. So that was December. When I came back to America, I said, God, I don't have any more money. How are we gonna do this? In January, I scratched that ticket, and there was the money. Somebody from Miami called me in the very next day, and he says, I was praying so hard last night, and your name come on my prayer, my name. He said, yeah, you know who I am, but God just told me that he was asking for it. Don't give whatever it is, don't use it for church, don't use it for nothing what you was asking for it. And believe me, I started to cry and cry to my family, and I, this is not my money, it's not your money, so we're gonna give it away. And we decided to give that money away to homeless people here in the children's in different countries. We help Dominican Republic, we help El Salvador during that time, and people in Mexico. So it's the entire money we give it away. When I went to do income tax, the lady who do my income tax, she was like, I can't believe it. I mean, if we have something like that, I'm not gonna do it. And I said, it's something that it's in my heart, and I've been feeding the homeless since 2009. So, and I'm gonna continue. That's what I did with the money. And now we got little ones in Pakistan. We got little ones in Venezuela, Honduras, and trying to help,
Do you think
But
that
happened with
Chef? Do you think that helps bring about world peace?
Say it again.
Do you think what you did and what you're doing helps to bring about world peace? Does that bring peace to the world?
I think so, because when we give a plate of food, when you see those faces, the people who is living in the street, they wake up every single day without anything, and when they see that plate of food, they see hope, they see tomorrow, they see peace. When you see a children with a big smile, they don't have food during that day, and they come out with a big smile in front of you, that also gives hope and peace in their hearts. If that bring a world peace, no, that is too big for me.
Well,
at this moment,
it is.
that is too big for me.
Yeah, it is.
But it brings peace to the people.
Chef, a butterfly flaps its wings and it affects the entire world. So one gift, one person, one at a time, something like what you've done, even though you don't think that it has the effect on the big picture, it really does.
Well, the fact is that someone fed you when you were a child, Chef, correct?
Exactly.
When you grew up, tell us
Yes.
your story, where you grew up from. You were from El Salvador, and how did you get to America and became a chef?
Sure.
But, the Cliff Notes version, sir.
Sure. I'm from El Salvador, And I grew up without mom and dad. So my mom, she was 16 when she became pregnant, and my dad was 47. So um, they left me with my grandma, and I grew up with my grandma until I was 12. So on my 12 years old, I went to San Salvador and started work. That way I can provide food to my grandma and myself also. So during the day, sometimes I eat, sometimes I don't. And I remember when I was 14, 15 years old, I went to bed without eating anything all day. And like 1 o'clock in the morning, I wake up and I said, at least a glass of water I'm gonna take. When I open the faucet, air come out because they shut the water off. In our countries we don't have enough water. So I cry and cry and cry, and I said, God, when I grow up, I don't want to suffer hunger. And during that time, we have a war for 12 years. We was killing each other. I was I became the student body president for the University of San Salvador, and I kidnapped. After I was kidnapped for almost 3 months. After my release, um, the Salvation Army is the one who picked me up, and they fixed my paperwork to Canada. That's why I love the Salvation Army. God bless them. And I ended up in Canada in a cold weather by myself. But I'm that type of person that I wake up and I said, today is going to be a better day. I'm going to make it. And I went to school and learned French. After 2 years and a half, I said, it's too much, it's too cold for me. And I moved to California. When I was in a plane in California and I saw LA from the air, I said, oh my God, it's paradise. You know? And I remember when I got off from the plane and I feel the weather, a warm weather, I feel home. And that was back in 1994. And I started to work as a washer and and then dishwasher. I was the best dishwasher, and then I ran to the kitchen and I said, guys, teach me how to cut vegetables. And they teach me how to cut vegetables. Remember, my first time was cutting vegetables, like 10 bags of onions. I was crying and crying all day, but I never give up. I'm gonna continue cutting until I learn it. And then they teach me how to cook. And I decided to went to a culinary school in Pasadena, California. And I went to the school to learn English. And but before that, I worked for Israeli family, and I was speaking Hebrew all day. I had to pick it up there. And one day uh, they said, mom said to her daughter, "Are you hungry?" And she said, "Yeah, I like to uh, salad and a soup." When they finished to talk, I got that salad and soup for them, and they said, "Oh my God, you understood my language." And I said, "What do you expect? If I listen to your language all day, yeah, I start to pick it up." So they paid the school for me, and I went to learn Hebrew. Now I speak 4 languages. So I ended up working for Low Santa Monica Beach Hotel in front of the pier, and I became a banquet chef. Here comes a chef from Texas, and my boss moved to Beverly Hills Hotel. So there comes um, Prince of Saudi Arabia, and he got his 2 chefs, and they need some to teach the 2 chefs what's going on with the health department. So the Prince of Saudi Arabia called me one day and said, "You're the choosest one. Can you cook a salmon for me, sir?" And I said, "Yes, sir." So I cooked that salmon. He loved it. He says, "Do you like to work with the guys?" And I said, "Sure. Why not?" I didn't say, "Oh no, sir, I cannot do it. I'm so sorry." I said, "Sure, let's do it." So guys only speak Arabic, and the only word that I knew in Arabic during that time was like "yalla yalla," like "let's go," and it was so fun. And so he called President Clinton during that time, and so for me to cook for President Clinton, I had to pass the security check.
Wow.
So which I did, and that was the very first time I cooked for a president. And then I moved in life, and my surprise was when President Bush came in place, they called me to cook for him in Oklahoma State University. Then Barack Obama came in place, and they called me to do Democratic Convention in Charlotte for him. And I ended up going to the White House, doing things. Then former President Trump came in place. So they call me again, and I'm still part of that family cooking for them. But my biggest thing in my heart is to cook for the people in the street. People, they don't have anything. Like I mentioned in the beginning, when you see their faces, when you see their gratitude, when they see myself coming in the street, said, "Oh my God, the chef is here," and they hug me and they dance with me. That is wonderful. That is, I can explain it to you, because when I die, when I left this world, I'm not gonna take anything with me. Everything is gonna stay here. So why not share what already I from heaven? That's what I do. And I remember when I grew up, when I didn't have any food, when bullets was crossing my head. So, and I live in this wonderful country, the biggest country in the world. Every single day I wake up and I say, "God bless America." My children are here. So
you're an
I
American.
love
You're an American dream story, but you're also an amazing story that shows what kindness can do, and it is remarkable. Chef to the presidents, and from very humble beginnings.
And the celebrities. It's a great Frank Sinatra story. There's so many stories.
We need to have a little bit of the Frank Sinatra story. That's one of my favorites. I look forward to having you as a guest again, Chef, because we don't have that much time today to really get into the other stories.
Sure.
But certainly, let's plan on having another conversation, because your story is the story that we want to get out there. And we thank you very much.
Thank you
so much for being on the show.
And thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I got so excited when she got in touch with me and said it can be in the program. I said, sure, why not? And God bless you.
You're amazing story. Thank you very much for everything that you've done and everything that you do. And we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Wonderful day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right.
And that does it for today's edition of Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. You can participate. Go to socialsecharity.org and learn about the process and what we're basically trying to get across to the entire country. And hopefully we'll be able to spread the news on a better basis.
Or find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or YouTube even.
Yeah, YouTube is a good place. For the YouTube, is it in that Chiron? I forget what the... Tommy?
Do we get
get the YouTube up? Yeah.
You know where YouTube is.
Yeah.
Social Secharity. Social
Secharity. Okay.
Look it up.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
We'll catch you back here next Thursday.
Tommy, thank you. And thank you, Community Newspaper. And we'll talk to you next Thursday.